Is there anybody there?
I don't keep track of where other teams' prices are, but I have to assume that they're relatively close to what ours are. I mean, there's no reason to outprice minor league baseball. Minor
Um,
league baseball is what it is. Take it for what it is and just enjoy it.
what's up, Dad Hat Crew? Ed here, and on this episode, I go back to my Cleveland Guardians minor league system. That's right, the Columbus Clippers. This week, I was joined by Matt Leiniger. He is the director of website communications for that team. We had a blast, guys. We had a blast. We talked about the team. We talked about players that are in the system that have gone up, and then some players that are no longer part of the organization, and how we feel about that when they do leave that specific team. It was a lot of fun. Oh, and then obviously we talked about in this episode about social media and what it really does take for someone to really run a social media, Twitter or TikTok or any of those social media outlets for a minor league system. Again, I had a blast. Make sure you guys are following him. Make sure you guys are following the Columbus Clippers. And as a matter of fact, do me a favor. While you're listening to this episode, go to the Columbus Clippers shop and get yourself a dad hat. That's right, a dad hat. But without further ado, I'll give you the episode. All right, welcome back, guys, to another Dad Hat Chronicles podcast episode. Obviously, you guys know who I am. My name is Ed, and with me, guys, I am very excited to have a representative from the Columbus Clippers. Is actually one of my favorite teams. Obviously, as a Cleveland Guardians fan, you got to follow all your baseball teams, all the affiliated teams. So, you know what? I'm just going to go with, we're just talking about how to introduce you and all that. I'm just going to go with Big Matt. Matt, how are you doing, my friend? How are things going?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. We're in the heat of baseball season. We're right about at that halfway point. We're almost to the All-Star break, and I'm doing well. I'm doing well. We've our record, Clippers record, doesn't really show it, but we've got a lot of talent, so it's been a lot of fun games to watch. And so far, it's been a good prelude to summer 2023.
I love it because you guys really do have some good players out there. One of my favorite actually players is Naylor, who's obviously the catcher for the Clippers. He is such a dynamic player that I love to see him, call a game. It's pretty awesome. As a matter of fact, as we're talking, I literally have the game going on right now. So, against the Omaha Storm Chasers. The score, we're not going to talk about the score. Oh,
I
see,
didn't
you
think
too.
I didn't think I would be able to pay attention to the podcast if I actually had the video going. So I just have the game cast up so I can I could take a glance up there. I would assume that by the time this releases, the news will have hit of a certain somebody calling up being called up, but none of that's official right now. So it's kind of mum's the word. And I would just say keep your eyes peeled to guard social media on Saturday,
I love it.
Saturday or Sunday.
See, I love. I
Don't
see.
hold don't hold me to that. Like there's only but and a lot of times like I'll get accused on social media of like holding back information. It's like there's only so much information that they get fed to me. Like I people want to know like, oh, when's Naylor getting called up? When's Naylor getting called up? Even if I knew, they're not gonna tell you
You think
over
I'm gonna tell
Twitter. Like,
you?
all due respect, it's just like all due respect, you're not that special. Like, if you were special, you would already be on the inside of the
Oh,
circle,
you be in the
and you
bubble
wouldn't
right
be
now.
waiting for a tweet to tell you that your boy Bo or Bobby Bradley or Shane Bieber is getting called up. Like, I'm sorry. I would love to be able to be like, oh, as soon as I hear a little bit of tidbitty information,
Yeah.
but I have, and over the course of 8 years of having my hand in the Clippers social media, not once have I pissed off any higher ups in Cleveland, and I would really like to keep that going. Like
Yeah.
my boss is super on the don't post until Cleveland does, say nothing until Cleveland does, and so like
That's the
that's
rule.
Yeah, and it goes the same thing with like injuries and stuff. It's like, oh, when is so and so coming back? Like I Valera started playing games out in Arizona, and I didn't even find out myself personally until somebody was posting highlights of it. It's like they expect us to know everything. It's like, listen, yes, social media, we're there to provide information like that. We're trying to provide you guys information, but there's only so much information that we're actually allowed to say. And
And I was
a
just gonna
lot
say,
of
it's
the
like, there's so
times,
much you can do.
well, and a lot of times we can't say it because we don't even know.
Right.
So,
Let's say you put a tweet out saying it's like so and so is getting called up, and then come to find out that's actually wrong information. Somebody else is getting called up and not
oh
that
yeah,
person.
oh yeah, and there's certain certain channels that things have to go through. Players have to find out themselves. I mean, the it's not related, but I had a good friend. I found out that they passed away the night before. I found out the next morning on Twitter. Like I didn't get a call or anything, and not that that's
Yeah.
anywhere related to that, but in the same sense of I don't want players finding out they got traded or released
Yeah, you
or
owe it
going
to
up or getting
them.
sent down before they even find out. Like I played college football pre social media era, and it was just like I am so thankful for that because it was it. I just wouldn't have wanted to be reading a lot of the stuff that they have to see.
They have to
And
deal with on a daily basis.
excuse me, yeah. And I remember talking with Bobby Bradley a few years back when the assassin was really taking off, and everyone was call up Bradley, call up Bobby, get Bobby up here, this, that, and the other. And I was just talking to him one day, pregame out on the field, and I was like, hey man, like I'm just purely out of curiosity because it's my field of work. How do you handle all the just crap thrown at you on social media? And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't even pay attention to it. And like that's what you have to be able to do in this day and age. And somebody like Bobby, who still, I think he's only 26 or 27, he grew up in the social media age.
Yeah.
I'm almost 40. I grew up with not having to worry about that kind of stuff. And like we had message boards, like we had like JJ Huddle and DG had one when I was playing. It was like a little message board that was all about athletics. But beyond that, that was the only place that you really heard or saw any smack talking outside of opposing fans when you're on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
Yeah.
these guys don't get to go home now these
No.
days. I mean, now it's their choice. They don't have to pick up their phone. They don't have to open their computer. But at the same time, why can't they have normal lives too? Without somebody going, "Hey, I was at your job today,
Right.
and you suck at your job. The other guy that's on the bench is so much better at their job than you are at your job." Like, who else has to deal with that beyond
That-
like maybe politicians? Like, it, like
Social media has
there's
become such a cesspool sometimes for like things like that,
oh
right? Like
gosh, it's so
it's so
social media.
bad.
Social media is a cesspool of brilliance, and I say
Oh,
that
good.
because I'm a huge TikTok fan. Like I love TikTok because it's the best algorithm in my opinion, and I don't really feel like anything is being squashed either. Like
Mm-hmm.
the whole idea of it being run by a company not in the United States suddenly makes it uncontrollable when in reality it's not the uncontrollable that everybody thinks. It's
Yeah.
just people are allowed to speak their opinions and nothing gets hidden. But you also see the creativity. Like I saw somebody take a remix of a Star Wars, a song from Star Wars, and they put like a remix to it. They put it kind of like a tech like
Mm-hmm.
house sort of beat to it, and then played the violin to it. Is one of the coolest things I saw all day. And it's just like I never would have seen that had I not been scrolling TikTok. And
Yeah,
like
just go
TikTok,
scrolling up.
just TikTok is full of so much talent, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
I like because you don't have to be famous for your talent to get seen, and that's what I enjoy personally about like TikTok. Now, having lived in the depths of hell of Twitter and Facebook and Instagram for the last 8 years, I mean, I participated before I got the job, and my posting completely changed once I had the job. Because
Yeah.
suddenly you're like, oh man, I didn't like this burger I got from this restaurant. I want to send a nasty tweet and let everybody know how mad I am.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized that it was like it's the same thing, like people complaining about what they did at the ballpark. Some people say they had a good time, but most people it's just like, oh well, I was supposed to have a good time, so I'm only going to post negative stuff. And
Yeah.
the negative stuff, man, I'll be honest, I have mental health struggles. I've dealt with depression my entire life.
Hmm.
And anytime that I talk to a college kid thinking about getting into social media, the first thing I tell them is you have to have thick skin. You have to not take things personally
Agree.
because shoot, I'm 6'5". I'm 325, 350 pounds, depending on what I had to eat the day before. And some of the stuff that gets thrown my way, I just sit back and I laugh because I'm like, there's no way you would say that to my face.
Yeah, right.
One you would need a step ladder to get this high.
Yeah.
Two, like
You wouldn't get up
congratulations.
to the step ladder because you would have been knocked out.
Well, it's just congratulations on being able to finally, be heard.
Yeah.
And I've also never been good at letting things go. Quite petty.
Yeah.
So it's like you send a couple nasty tweets, man, you're getting that mute button because the mute button is worse than the block. The
Yeah.
block, you know that you can't talk to somebody. The mute, you're just typing into dead air, like blah 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 blah. And I'll look at like we'll post something. I'll post a starting lineup or something, and I'll open the comments. It'll be three, but it says they're 10, and I'm like, they're at it again, and I don't even have to close it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yep,
There's no
that's
point. Yeah. I,
no, none. And
I love you.
we
You're
have
right
P
though. I love using the mute button because it's so much better. They can still see your stuff, and all that. They think that they're commenting, and then you're seeing it, and you're like, I don't see any of
um
that.
did you see that zinger I sent? Nope.
Nope.
But thanks for playing.
Come back next
But
week.
but I think what gets lost on it is what social media, at least as far as what we were doing as a professional baseball team, is. Like right now we're dealing with a lot of Bo Naylor stuff and a lot of Brian Rocchio stuff, and this
Yeah.
person should be called up, and this, that, and the other. And in reality, yeah, I'm there to post information. I'm there to show you what happened in games and stuff. But my number one job is to sell tickets.
Hmm.
So I'm going to be trying to sell something most of the day. And then when the game comes, I'm going to throw some highlights at you. But then the rest of the day, I'm going to get you try to get out to the ballpark to see what's happening. Now
Yeah.
that doesn't limit what I post by any means, like when we're
Hmm.
home and away, vice versa, whatever. But especially when we're home, I want to show as many videos as I can of people just having a good time.
I like
Well,
it.
we had a 6 game series with Louisville last week, and unfortunately our Sunday game got rained out, but we have a 10-1 seated capacity. We still sell SRO after 10-1. But through 5 games, we were over 50,000 tickets,
Oh
and like
wow.
we had sold for the week, and it was just like, all right, we're doing something good here, but we want to continue to build upon that. Like we may have a losing record, but we're still getting close to capacity every night. And that's just trying to show like, hey, come on out to Huntington Park.
Hmm.
Like most minor league baseball fans, and I know that the people who enjoy your show and the people who follow me don't fall into this particular is the Venn diagram with the
Yep.
circles and the cross. Yeah, okay. They don't fit into this Venn diagram, but the majority of people that come watch maybe 2 or 3 innings of baseball.
Yeah.
They don't get there until the second. They leave by the seventh. Like they're
Or
just
and
there
if
to
they're
kind of.
there, they're socializing with somebody else at the bar or hanging out.
Yeah, and that's one thing about Huntington Park that's so great is there are so many socializing areas. Like you don't have to stay in your seat to be able to go out
Right.
and have a spot where you can sit. There's picnic tables all over the place that aren't like reserved and stuff. There's at the top of the steps on every section is a drink rail. So if people just want to stand at the top of their section, that's fine too. Like it and there's the one side along the third baseline is under the shade before any of the bleachers are. So a lot of people hang out under there under day games and stuff. Like there are plenty of places around the ballpark where you can just socialize. And you got to realize when it comes to minor league baseball, this is mostly what people are doing. Yes, we
Mm-hmm.
absolutely have diehard baseball fans that come out. We got diehard season ticket holders. We've got some great fans that bring their cowbells to every single game and are loud and ringing them and stuff. And we love that. But we also have to play to the casual fan who isn't going to be coming out there to watch baseball. They're coming out to just
Yep.
do something.
Hang
And
out.
you want to do something like it. Where else? Where else can you go to an event that's going to be 2 to 4 hours long, where they have concession stands and bathrooms and all that stuff, and you get to watch something happen, and you're a family, a family of two parents and four kids. Where else can you go for under $30
No, not anyone.
just for tickets? Just for
Right.
tickets?
Yeah.
Like
You
that's our
can't. Not in
Sunday.
the majors anymore.
That's our Sunday special is family day. And family day, you get two adults and up to four kids or seniors for $28. And it's just like
Amazing.
I'm pretty sure the other deal is 18 for bleacher seats. Like that's what we want to be able to do. We sit right in the middle, damn near smack dab in the middle of two professional baseball teams, two historic
Yeah.
professional baseball teams that have been around forever. And we saw last week the how strong the Cincinnati Reds fandom is here in Columbus because Louisville didn't make it here last year. The scheduling didn't have them come here, which
Hmm.
it's another story for another day. Um, the,
Right.
how we don't play Louisville anyways. But the Reds fans came out in full force, and you got to think, okay, well, we're right smack dab in the middle. We're not gonna have all Guardians fans.
No, you're gonna have
It's
Cincinnati Reds fans.
and there are Reds fans that are Clippers fans,
Yep.
and it's just like they're Clippers fans because it's their hometown team. They got a bunch of swag they can wear. They got their jersey and they go out and 10-cent hot dogs on Tuesdays, and it's just like, but no, I'm a diehard Reds fan. I've been a Reds fan since the Big Red Machine, blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. It's almost like how I don't get upset that there are Pittsburgh Penguin and Detroit Red Wing hockey fans here in Columbus because if you've been a hockey fan for more than 20, 25 years. Columbus didn't have a team. You had to root for
Correct.
somebody outside of Columbus. And when you're a lifelong fan, shoot, like lifelong fandoms are hard to give up just because your city hasn't just inauguralized the team.
Yeah. Listen, I'm in North Carolina, and there's no major league team here. There's a bunch of minor league baseball teams that I will support and everything, but I'm still a Guardians fan through and through. That's my team, because that's where I was from, Cleveland. And it speaks to that what you're saying. It's like, the fandom of like we're still fans, and that's the beauty of minor league baseball, that we are allowed to be fans of multiple teams, even if they're not part of the major league, umbrella.
Yeah. Minor league baseball is all about just being a fan of
The game.
baseball, being a fan of getting out of the house, being a fan of just going and doing something fun on the cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you're a guy like me, not married, no kids, like if I yeah, I get to go to all minor league games for free. So that's not really the best example. But if I wanted to go to a minor league game, like it cost me $7 to $10. It's cheaper than going to a movie these days.
It
Like
is.
so, and I don't keep track of where other teams' prices are, but I have to assume that they're relatively close to what ours are. I mean, there's no reason to outprice minor league baseball. Minor
No.
league baseball is what it is. Take it for what it is and just enjoy it. Like, and I have to take that. I have to remember that at times because I take it too seriously sometimes. I want us to be considered a major league baseball organization that's categorized as a minor league team. I
Mm-hmm.
want our stadium to feel like a big league ballpark. I have my hands are all over the game productions. I'm the PA announcer. Um, but then I also have a hand in what goes up on the scoreboard and
Mm-hmm.
what music is being played. And, when we're laying out the promos before the season and stuff, all things that I try to have myself involved in because I look at every single person who comes through that ballpark individually. I want that
Yeah.
specific person to enjoy themselves. I want them to have a good time because they're spending their hard-earned money. It may not be a lot of money, it may only be $7, $10, but they're spending their own money
They
to
choose to
come
spend
out.
it on the team.
Yes, they're not, nobody's putting a gun to their head and saying, you're spending your money on minor league baseball. No, they're coming out to minor league baseball. So from the opening reads, from the welcome reads until the goodbye reads and everything in between, I don't take a day off. My voice never takes a day off because it's just, I want them to, one, I want them to all feel like, holy
Yeah.
cow, like it's like this all the time, or wow, maybe they just know I'm here and they're trying to put on a good show, like something like that. And I want them to feel that. We try to hit 10 different genres of music every single game just so that somebody hears something that they might like and might be able to tap their toe along to while in between innings. Like, it's a total experience. It's an entertainment experience with baseball thrown in between.
Hmm.
And we generally finish around the top five in minor league in attendance, even with a smaller ish ballpark compared to some places that have 13, 14, 15,000 seats.
Yeah.
Um, but our little hole in the arena district, our little spot right down there in between uh two Big Four sports league arenas. We're square between the Blue Jackets and the Crew. And
And
there's
the
people
Crew
that are
got
like,
that
oh,
new stadium there too. Yeah.
yep, and I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about this, but I'm going to I'm going to bring it up anyways because I think you could probably do a little bit better research than I. I believe Huntington Park is one of two two sports facilities, of like professional sports facilities, that used zero tax dollars.
No way.
We did not, we were not given any tax money. We took out loans, we used bonds, um, and we're still in the process of repaying those loans. But you see, oh, Vegas is talking about the
Oh,
government giving
dude.
$1 billion, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Huntington Park took zero,
Man, that's amazing.
zero tax dollars. And that's one of those fun things that I like putting in my back pocket for people complaining on Twitter. And it's just like, oh, well, our tax dollars built your stadium. No, it didn't. Thank, thank you. Yeah, we are owned. We're owned by the county. We didn't take any.
Yeah.
We took loans. If you want to call that us taking your tax money, but we're going to give it back. So,
Yeah, right.
um, which is funny when we're sitting behind or sitting in front of a $250 million stadium, and I'm not sure how much the Blue Jackets arena costs, but I mean that's the centerpiece for all of the arena district here in Columbus. So
Hmm.
I'm not saying a single bad thing about Nationwide. Um, I'm not saying anything bad about the Crew either. It really is. It's unique. It's a unique thing where in half a mile we've got three professional sports stadiums.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
and it can set up. It has to be the perfect day, but it can set up that you would be able to take in. I think maybe once or twice a year, you'd be able to take in all three in one day.
And
You
just so
might
you
have to
know,
leave some early, but
yeah, just so you know, as of 2017, and then this is, an article from the Columbus Dispatch. As of 2017, the team has already paid almost half of the $42 million debt without using tax dollars.
boom.
There it is. So
Now
that's amazing.
I don't know if you could pull that off when it comes to $1 billion stadiums and stuff.
No,
Like I said,
God.
like
The
like
whole
like you said,
situation with Oakland
like
has
you
been a
well, like,
cluster.
oh yeah, it's awful. I feel terrible for A's fans. I kind of feel bad for Vegas residents too, to be completely honest. Nobody says that they actually want this. But it's like you said, a $42 million stadium. Um, there has to be some way to make that work
Mhm.
in some similar form. And I'm honestly tired of these dudes that are worth $5 billion saying, "Oh, give me $500 million to build a stadium." How about how about you build it and then rack in all the profit from it? Like I just don't. That to
Yeah.
me that to me that feels like a bigger chunk of change by you owning it completely. and
And
you have the money for it.
you know what the wild thing is, like, if they would have stayed in Oakland, they would have owned the property, right? But they're going to Vegas, they're leasing it, so they're
And
not owning
then
a single thing about it.
Manfred came out, whatever, said something that Oakland hadn't provided proper
That's a
proper
lie. That's a
plans and
lie.
stuff. And it's just like, and the Oakland mayor comes back, is like,
Yeah, we did.
no, we've got this. And
Yep.
by the way, we were giving them this land and this land and this land. They were going to be able to develop this. And instead they're going to the desert, which, I mean, Oakland is a big market, but it feels like it's a smaller market just because it's not like the big dog in all the situations. Kind of like San Francisco is more
Yeah.
the bigger name out of the Bay. But Oakland going from a pretty decent sized market to Vegas, which is a market smaller than Cleveland.
But they
I
wanted that market. They wanted that market. They wanted the money. You know,
I'm who's
they
going to who's going to those games?
but I mean,
Is there listen
look at the support. I'll say this about Vegas. Look
the
at the support that
the
the Black Knights have been getting.
I'll give you the support that they've got the Knights, but that's an under 20,000 seat stadium.
True story. That's true story.
That's 40 times a year in an 82 game schedule.
Yeah.
This is 162 games. You're playing 81 games at home with what I can only assume is going to be a 40, 50, 60,000 seat stadium.
And which most of the major league
Is
ballparks are not that big anymore.
bingo. It's better to have a full ballpark than a
N-
one that you fill up on special events and the rest of the time is just empty. It's
exactly. It's an interesting dynamic, right? I mean, my brother's a huge Oakland A's fan, right? So I feel bad for him because he's like,
Hi, brother. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
right. I know, right? So
You don't deserve this, brother. I'm sorry.
they don't. They really don't. But what are you going to do, right? Like, I mean, I think that decision has been made. I think the nail is in the coffin. It's a done deal. From the reports I hear is like all major league owners are going to unanimously vote to pass this to move all to Oakland, not to Vegas. Now the problem is, now that they're going to have to most likely share that ballpark with the Las Vegas Aviators because the
And
Oakland's not going to, that whole relationship has been tarnished.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen because that kind of sucks for the Aviators, honestly, because that's a great little ballpark.
It does.
I haven't been there yet, but I've seen more than enough pictures of it to know that they did a very, very good
Beautiful.
job.
Yeah,
And plus, they built that in a residential spot.
they
Like that's in
did.
a residential area. That's not on the
Nope.
strip.
Nope.
That's where
It's
the actual
about 20 to
people.
30 minutes.
Yeah, that's where people actually live.
Yep.
But what they're talking about with the new A stadium is going to be on the strip, and it's just
Hmm.
like, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they want.
And it's another thing. Like, okay, yeah, well, they got the Raiders, and they got a 100,000 seat stadium, or however big that new one is. That's 8 days a year.
Hmm.
Football is different. Like, that's once a week. Are you going to
Yep.
get people to come out 5, 6, 7 days in a row to your ballpark to watch your team play? Yeah, there are going to be, you'll have plenty of diehard baseball fans that are going to be excited about that, but that's not going to be enough to fill a 30, 40,000 seat over each stadium.
No.
So, I
No.
mean, how long can you live off hotel Vegas comps? Like it's just like they're
It's a
going to make
good
all these
point.
deals and this, that, and the other. But
That's a good point. That's a good point.
just my opinion. Like that's a completely uneducated opinion. Anytime I get asked to talk on anything like this, I have to remind people I'm an announcer. I may work in the front office for a minor league baseball team, but it's not in the front office area where we make like serious like decisions.
All right.
People hand me information and they go, "Hey, can you put this on the website?" Or, "Hey, can you post this on social media?" And I'm like, "Sure." I didn't have to come up with it. I'll just come up with a funny way of posting.
There you
Like
go.
that's and so anytime that I'm talking about anything like there's no inside information. It's purely my opinion. It's purely what I think and
Mhm.
it goes no further than that. So anything that I'm saying about Vegas or the MLB or anything, you take it with a grain of salt because it's really just I'm really overall just bitter that MLB took over minor league baseball because I've seen firsthand the changes that have made, and we'll leave it at that.
Let's do that. Let's keep your job there. Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about your job then, because you got technically you have two things that you do for the Clippers, right? Because one, you're the PA announcer on game days, and then you also handle, like you said, the website for the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
And then
your day job.
that's the technical titles. The voice of Huntington Park and the director of website communications. I also do all of our in-game social stuff.
Okay,
So anything that's happened that goes from posting lineup graphics through ball game or ring your bells, game over tweets, those are me. Um,
gotcha.
just because it's easier for me to teach by example.
Mhm.
So we hired a new social person a couple months ago, and excuse me, they're just not ready to talk baseball yet. And in my opinion, you can't trot somebody out there as one of the 30, 32, 30 minor league teams, professional baseball teams, and call something a double play when somebody has an RBI double. And
Mhm.
it's just like I've seen that happen. I've seen what happens when I make mistakes and call something incorrectly, and I get called out about it. And I've been in the game for over 30 years, so um, I it's more of like, hey, I want you to watch what I'm doing, and then kind of figure out if you want to be able to do it this way. And if you don't want to do it this way, I'll continue to do it this way. And you keep handling the marketing side. And that's what it's kind of been for the last couple of years, which takes a major load of weight off of my plate while also not overwhelming the new social person by having to work 150 games.
Mhm.
It can be draining when all your coworkers have the weekend off because we're on the road. Well, guess what? I have to go in the office for 2 hours and then I come home and spend another three, four watching the game and live tweeting and stuff, um, which I enjoy. I enjoy.
Mhm.
Like I could say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, and we could try to figure something else out. But this is I have fun with it. If you look back over the past 8 years or whatever at the style, I used to think that I needed to post an update every half inning. And it's like trying to do that while announcing a game, dude. I was exhausting myself.
Yeah, it
And I
kills.
and I and I slowly started to realize like, oh, this doesn't really seem to be what people want. And so I was updating. And that's just social media is an ever changing thing.
Oh yeah.
And I just kind of keep my hands in Twitter. I let our youth handle the rest of that kind of stuff, but I've got a good handle on that. And you look at how much description um I used to post, and now like if I post a home run highlight, like it's literally a sentence,
Yeah.
and maybe not even a sentence. Like the one I did it again, or the one I did a couple days ago was just like, oh, Bo, he didn't when Bo hit a home run,
Yeah.
and it's just like the more that video has become accessible on Twitter, which has really only been over the past few years. Like people don't really remember. Like there was a time when I was just posting j- like JPEGs with what happened in the play, and then we had a little time where GIFs were big. So I was
Yep.
like taking plays and turning them into GIFs, and now I can post full highlights with the greatest of ease because like minor league baseball has made it much more easier to do that, along with Twitter.
Yep.
And so I kind of let the video do the talking. Like I have not posted one highlight of Jean Kenzie Noel this year that has not just been all caps Jean Kenzie Noel. It's like I'm just yelling, John Kenzie Noel did something. Everybody come watch. And every time I do that, there's 4 or 5 people that immediately respond in all caps, John Kenzie Noel. And so it's stupid. It's something that I just kind of came across by accident. And it was like, you know what? I don't really want to describe. Like, John Kenzie just killed this ball. How do I describe he killed a ball? Well, just put his name in caps and just kind of kept going from there because he's got such a fun name. If you look at any highlights, there shouldn't be any description on any highlights that include John Kenzie Noel other than the amount of exclamation points that are after his name. That's what shows how big the highlight was.
I love it, man. Yeah, I'm on your on the team's website, the Twitter account actually. And this is interesting. Obviously, 6 hours ago, that Richie Palacios.
Big Richie fan, but I kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah, so did I.
He started the season hot and
It kind of cooled off.
And I just didn't see him getting another chance up in Cleveland. And
No.
that happens a lot. Like that happens a lot. I just because a player leaves doesn't mean that I stop caring for them. Like I am still a huge Yandy Diaz fan. I'm still a Gio Urshela fan.
Massive Yandy Diaz fan.
Love Yandy. So, all right, funny story. Let's see. Trying to think when this would have been. Maybe 16 or 2016, maybe 2017. So we had Ronnie Rodriguez and Yandy Diaz on the on that particular team, and Ronnie had this just week of power where he literally homered in 5 straight games.
Seriously?
After the 4th game, and I go down to the clubhouse a lot, and I know the guys for the most part, like not real close, but I'm one of the few because being a former athlete, my general manager knows that I know how to act in a locker room. So it's not like I'm going to be like some fandom. I just go down there for information and then bullshit a little bit and get out of there.
Yeah.
But so I had known Yandy and Ronnie because they had been with the team the 2 years prior. And as they're leaving, Ronnie's agent was driving. Ronnie was in the front seat. Yandy sitting in the back seat. And they were pulling out of the parking lot just as I was coming out of the building to leave for the day. And we just had a day game. And I happened to know their agent, JC, great guy. He said, "Hey, puppy." Hey, JC. And they let me pass, and I kind of stopped, poke my head, and I go, "Ronnie, you hit me a home run tomorrow?" He goes, "Why tomorrow?" "Tomorrow's my birthday." He goes, "Oh yeah, definitely hit you home run on your birthday." And out of the back, Yandy, who, I mean, he still speaks with a translator. So we're talking 5-6 years ago. His English was not any better than it was now. And he just kind of pokes his head out from the back and goes, "True birthday? How old? 40?" And then made that face. Dying. I was only like 32 at the time. And I'm like, damn, Yandy, like, come on. He's like, "How old? 40? And I'll never forget that face. That's my favorite Yandy story. And coincidentally, Ronnie did hit me a home run the next day for my birthday, and then pointed up at the press box where I was announcing from. So that was a cool little birthday present there. Yeah. But I'll never forget that look. That how old? 40?
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Big Matt. Now, make sure you guys are following him, the Columbus Clippers, and then also go to their shop. Again, go to their shop. Get yourself a dad hat. You know what? I will overlook it, and I will let you guys get your own hat, but just go and support the team, all right? Whether it's a hat, a sticker, a jersey, a t-shirt, whatever it is, support the team. And then make sure you guys are following me on the podcast, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys listen to your podcast. Give it 5 stars. Give it a good rating. That way I'll go up on the rankings, okay? And then let's get you guys to the dad joke of the episode. And here it is. Why are fish so smart? They're always in schools. All right. I'll see myself out. And until then, guys, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.